it will come from Monday Night Football. Packers will welcome the Eagles to Lambeau Field. Philadelphia will be coming off a bye week and have a few new faces that they obviously added at the trade deadline, as we've talked a lot about. The Packers, on the other hand, coming off just a terrible loss to the Panthers at home. They're also very banged up. However, the Packers enter Monday's game against the Eagles with a better than 50-50 shot to win the North. But it'll go up 10% with the win. It'll drop 10% with the loss. Packers and Lions will meet again on Thanksgiving. We'll look forward to that. Monday night, though, after coming, you could argue the Packers have the two worst losses in the NFL this season with the Browns and then the Panthers loss. You could argue that. True. So now, is this a must-win against the Eagles on Monday night for the Packers, Dan?
God, no. If this team loses, they're 5-3-1. The Packers are going to be in the playoffs. I'll reiterate, I think 6 out of the 7 NFC playoff teams are already locks. The Packers are one of them. I think when you just take the totality, and Shay's right, those losses bad, but if we just look at the body of work through, 8 games, one, this is really a top 5, top 6 offense. Jordan Love is a top 5, top 6 quarterback, even though last week did not play well. And it's a defense that just does not give offenses big play opportunity. In the grand scheme of like football, if you get an offense that's playing top 5 level, and you get a quarterback that's playing top 5 level, and you get a defense that doesn't give up explosive plays, they're going to be in every football game and capable of beating absolutely everybody. Are the Packers perfect? No question, no. Okay, their offensive line's got to play better. But this isn't a must-win. If they lose this game, they're still going to be very much so in the division race, and they'll absolutely be in the playoffs.
That's too much logic, too much rationale, right? Too much, I can look at the schedule because I'm extremely intelligent, and the Green Bay Packers are going to get into the playoffs.
So you're saying must win?
Yeah, it's a must win. And it's not a must win from the standpoint of like the season's over if we don't win it, right? But there's also like this thing, we can lose to anybody. And when I say anybody, like they can legitimately walk into any stadium and be beat. Those aren't normally the feelings we have about Super Bowl teams.
That's fair.
And you know what? Like, good teams have an off day. We could go to Cleveland. It's a nasty place to be.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is really good. Matthew Golden catches the deep ball, steps out of bounds where maybe we could get down the sideline. Like, some things don't work. Cool. That's all right. But you can't go get 40 on you with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Against the Dallas Cowboys, knowing how that team's going to be prepared for that game. You can't allow Carolina, and God bless Carolina, Rico Dotto, Bryce Young. Yeah. This is like the type of team you root for. Like Dave Canales looks like that guy from New Girl, right? The actor, I don't know his name. Right? So like, you look at that team.
You're watching New Girl?
So you look at that team. He's also in the Neighborhood. You look at that team and you're like, oh my goodness, how does this happen? How do you lose to the Carolina Panthers? How do you get in the red zone and not score points? Turnover on downs, penalties, like all these things happen, fumbles. And so, yeah, you got to go win it because you got to go show me you can beat a good team. Like the Lions win has worn off for me. I'm like, whatever, right? That Sunday Night Football win where Jordan Love completes 20 passes in a row, cool, that's good. But you got to show up every week to be a champion, to be a great team. And to go out and beat the Philadelphia Eagles and put that on your resume, I believe that's huge for this team. And if you don't, questions begin to be asked within the locker room.
I'll be damned if they begin to be asked. They're already being asked. They've lost to Cleveland and Carolina on this squad and gave up 40 and walked away with a tie against Dallas. Those are the blemishes on their record this season. There's already questions, okay? So if you lose the Eagles, it's just going to be additional questions piled on top of that. But it's still going to be question marks. I'm just looking at this schedule, and this is the biggest reason I feel like I totally agree with RC on this, Dan, about how they need to win this game. Look at what they have. Listen, yeah, you got a road game against the New York Giants. We can't rule that out considering that you lost to Carolina and Cleveland, okay? But then you got a home game. That's against Minnesota. That's a division rival. You got to deal with that. You got a road game against Detroit. You got a home game against Chicago. You got back-to-back road games against Denver and Chicago. I look at all of those things with Green Bay, and like RC said, who can't you lose to? You could lose to that. And by the way, when we're talking about Green Bay, you got to remember, part of the reason we're looking at them as a Super Bowl contender legitimately is because of what we saw them do on opening night against Detroit, how formidable they looked. You know you're at Lambeau Field. That's going to give you an edge. How much faith are you going to have with them on the road? when you're going up against some of these teams. If you lose a game like Monday night to Philadelphia, if you end up looking up at Detroit because Detroit's going to capture the NFC North instead of yourself, then you're talking about going into a wild card situation. You're talking about being on the road, which brings into question a guy like a Jordan Love and what's he going to do, when's he going to show up, etc. And oh, by the way, he's not going to have his boy Kraft, who's out for the season, because of the ACL injury. So I look at it from all of those standpoints, and I say, look, you got to show up Monday night on your home turf against the Philadelphia Eagles and let everybody know who the hell you are.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, because you said the questions are being asked, are already, I sound like a seal, are already being asked. What questions do you have about this team, Stephen A.?
Well, the question you have about this team is whether or not Jordan Love is going to show up and handle his business in big moments. Yes, that's a question about Jordan Love. You trying to tell me there's no question about Jordan Love?
He's as good of a
Are you trying to tell me there's no question about Jordan Love? Excuse me? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
He's as good a fourth quarter quarterback when it matters, show up in big moments that we have in the NFL this year. He's 13 days from
was he great against Cleveland? Was he great against Cleveland? Was he great against Carolina?
No, but what? So the other games don't matter?
I'm just saying.
Like the other games don't exist?
I'm just saying to you, nobody looks at Jordan Love and says the brother can't play. Nobody looks at Jordan Love and says he's never shown up. What I'm trying to tell you is that, has he been a model of consistency? No. You know that. That's okay, not nobody's surprised by that.
I think here's the question, right? It's not, and Jordan Love to me has had an amazing season, right? He's been phenomenal. Sure. You even go back to that last game, he finds a way to get them in the end zone late after struggling the entire day. So I don't have those sort of will Jordan Love show up questions. I have the questions of, will this team find ways to win in the most important moments, in the most important games? Because we've seen, whether it's San Francisco in the divisional playoff round 2 years ago, we saw in Philadelphia last year, right? They find ways against the best teams to make the mistake in the important moment, right? And so we want to see, me personally, I want to see the dominance of the Cleveland Browns like we feel the good teams should do. I want to see the dominance of the Carolina Panthers like we've seen good football teams do. This isn't, to me, an individual player question, right? This is a total team execution question.
I agree with that.
I believe
maturity. It's a super young team. The maturity for the whole group has got to go up. Stephen A.,
what's wrong with your face?
And you also say, like, they can get beat by anybody.
Because y'all bother me, man. Y'all bother me sometimes with that, man. Y'all really do. Y'all really do. Y'all act like listen. I watched y'all sit up here last year. Watch y'all sit up here, especially you, Dan, more so than RC. I watch you sit up here and rave about Jordan Love. I got love for love. You even came up with that line one time, stealing it from me. I mean, you got love for love. That's what you said. You said it on national television. I'll get the bite, okay? I'll get the sound bite, all right? And then the brothers rolled up in the playoffs against Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying, and stunk up the joint and threw 3 interceptions. You know what? You're like, hey, man, it wasn't a great day for him. This is what you do. And so then I bring it. Listen, hold on. I said Dan Orlovsky, RC.
Sorry,
the point that I'm trying to make is that I'm sitting there and I bring that stuff up, and then he's looking at me like I'm making some stuff up. I mean, there's footage everywhere you're doing it, okay? You raved about him, and then he showed up, and it didn't show out the way you anticipated, and you point that out too. That's all I'm doing. We're not indicting the dude and saying the brother can't play. We're saying which one's going to show up. Which one's going to show up? And that is the question about Jordan Love. And, by the way, we know how important the quarterback position is.
Steve says
we know that
the
defense can show up and the quarterback might not. It can ruin everything.
Now, not this Steve, the other Steve.
Listen, as a Bears fan, I love to sit here and just say that the Packers are probably not going to be very good. But nonetheless, we know that the Packers, especially Jordan Love, in the second half of the season does seem to switch on a little bit of a light. They're also the third best team in the NFL coming off a loss. We're going to leave that there. We'll talk more about the Eagles a little bit later on in the show. But we do have some very sad, tragic news to report today. The Cowboys have announced that the defensive end, Marshawn Kneeland, has died at the age of 24. As of now, there are no details surrounding his death. Kneeland was in his second year after being drafted in the second round by Western Michigan. He scored a touchdown in Monday night's game against the Cardinals on a blocked punt where he recovered it in the end zone. The Cowboys released the following statement, quoted as with extreme sadness that the Dallas Cowboys share that Marshawn Kneeland tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate and a member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend Catalina and his family, end quote. Kneeland was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and played high school football in Wyoming, Michigan. Once again, Nealon was just 24 years old.
Đi đâu anh lười mua chứ? Đi sân bay. Nếu mà chuyện này chắc có điện thoại được. Nếu cái này người ta xin điện thoại được. Cho cái gì vào hôm nay kêu mày uống nhậu. Vì tôi lại không uống lại. Chơi như là chơi. Đúng rồi. Chắc là mấy cái hạt kia vào thì kìa cái hạt đâu còn kìa nó đeo là vứt vào đấy nó chạy không biết gì lại thì nhưng mà ở đi sân bay về tôi cũng đang rồi nhưng mà có lẽ là ba cái này rất là dị sử cái vơi đấy là cái
có cái phần mềm nào nó hỗ trợ tóm tắt video này, mình dùng video mà nó tóm tắt mình
video là cái rất là cụ số video ở đây gì vậy? Cái bên bên thì chấm bút thì ôi Rất nhìn quán tơ mà để mình giúp cho kéo ra miệng cho cái từ nhiều lúc ở trong tôi và sáng mai dậy giờ cũng được tin phát là cái chỉ giác thôi thì thương mại nữa làm được thương mại có các nội dung video rồi nha, chỉ có các nội dung video để lại thôi, video xong một cái chủ đề không này nó hay nhá. Ở đây chi tiết ăn phân giới để phân tích kỹ thuật. Xem thêm. Tôi là xem có tìm ấn rồi lại.
Mấy cái này đã hết đánh. Cái này để có một ô tô nhưng mà cái xe này cái sân. Cái sân này ô tô đã nửa sân rồi. Đấy, ô tô. Rồi rất nửa là